Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Light Paper Truth Paper. Today we're going to be reading this article, Aussie cops question enforcement tactics, and I may read the next one as in the same episode. We'll see how it goes. The link to this paper will be in the description, and this is the December 2020 edition. Aussie Cops Question Enforcement Tactics by Andrea Holbrook. As police wade into crowds of peaceful protesters all over the world, just following orders, a brave senior constable, Alexander Cooney, from New South Wales, Australia, has written an open letter to his government, signed by colleagues, exposing the COVID-19 narrative for the harm it is causing to police and their relations with the public. As a result, many professionals speaking out from their informed positions of responsibility, his career is on the line, as his duty status is now under review pending investigation. The comprehensive, well-researched letter, dated October 26th, is addressed to New South Wales Commissioner of Police Michael Fuller, outlining the arguments against the mainstream narrative, particularly the use of faulty testing, highlighting that penalties cannot morally and legally be applied if the standard of measurement is obviously faulty. He highlights that, as police officers, they are only too aware of the socio-economic implications of a run-down economy, and that in years to come the price to pay for the current lockdowns will be heavy indeed. Senior Constable Cooney shares concerns, with many frontline workers who may be first in line for a rushed and potentially mandatory vaccine to supposedly immunise from a low-risk virus, developed by companies with very dubious histories. Towards the end of the letter, he answers a question that many people have pondered. Have the frontline workers not realised that by enforcing the rules and going along with the system, they are eroding their own rights, and that of their families as well? Citing the biosecurity measures, he reminds his seniors that they do not have the ability to breach carte blanche human rights, calling the current situation an oppressive regime and warning of a global takeover whereby the police are being used as a tool of oppression. These are strong words from a brave man who has clearly now come to fear for the safety of himself and his own family, as well as the wider community of country and indeed world citizens. The letter from Cops for COVID Truth has been signed by 70 Melbourne police officers so far. In the UK, a special constable from Avon and Somerset has made a notice public regarding her resignation, stating that she can no longer, in good conscience, play a part in enforcing these regulations. She said she joined up to help people. It seems right and proper that police officers, as well as other frontline workers with information, should come forward. After all, they took on a role to uphold the law and to protect the public. When they are asked to enforce questionable laws and simply enforce them without questioning the legality of their actions, then perhaps they should be the first to question the purpose of their job, which is to protect and serve the public. Around the world, we can see the relationship and trust between the public and the police eroding as strong-arm tactics are being used on genuinely concerned, decent citizens. I myself witnessed such behaviour in Trafalgar Square on the 19th of September. I have never before seen such a shocking display of force in the quantity of riot police, horses, vans and dogs, all for a very peaceful protest of concerned citizens. I would have been shocked to see such a militaristic display even at a particularly rivalrous football match. I witnessed the strategies of bullying and agitation of the crowd, then the full-on unprovoked assault. The police went down dramatically in my estimation that day. I'm also sure that many of those officers and ones put in similar positions around the world are not at peace with themselves at all. Maybe coming clean, like the Melbourne officers, might help to ease their minds. Okay, and then there's a link at the end saying you can read this open letter at the following address. https, that normal bit, then bit.ly/cops-for-COVID-truth. Okay. So the next article, I should just go on to read, is called Dr. Forshee will see you now. By Neil McRae. It's unlikely that Dr. Anthony Forshee, chief medical advisor to the US president, shed a tear when Donald Trump failed to win the election, although the contested outcome is likely to be settled in court. Joe Biden, his apparent successor, is more Forshee's type of president, just as he is Biden's type of expert. The COVID-19 pandemic has been such a boon to progressive globalists that some wonder whether the whole event was planned, partly to dislodge Trump, the biggest obstacle to the Great Reset. Many people would perceive this as wacky conspiracy theory, but there is no doubt that the contagion, whether naturally occurring or not, has been exploited by powerful forces. The likes of Forshee, Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab have influence far beyond that of elected national leaders. As director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, a division of the US National Institutes of Health, Forshee played an important role in research on coronaviruses. He approved a research grant of $3.7 million titled Understanding the Risk of Bat Coronavirus Emergence. A major site for this gain-of-function work, whereby viruses are made more virulent in humans for purposes of prevention or treatment, was the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Under Obama's government, when this grant was awarded, safety concerns led to closure of similar research at an American laboratory. Presumably on the order of Donald Trump, in April 2020, NIAID grant payments were suspended, causing furore in the media. Chinese scientists were gaining most while the USA was paying the bill, but Trump was also listening to experts who believe that COVID-19 emanated from the Wuhan Institute of Virology rather than from a food market. In June, when a Democrat congressman asked why the grant was terminated, Forshee said, "It was cancelled because the NIH was told to cancel it. I don't know the reason, but we were told to cancel it." Chinese scientists must be overjoyed at Trump's defeat. Forshee will turn the taps on again, sending millions of US taxpayers' dollars their way. A week after the election, on the 12th of November, Forshee participated in a webinar for the British think tank Chatham House. He clearly expected that the global medical technocratic regime will surge ahead now that Trump is heading to the golf course. Statewide and international cooperation is vital to disease control, he asserted. When you have an infectious disease, it doesn't matter if you have a country with 50 different states. What happens in one part of the country is going to influence what is happening in another part of the country. Just like when something happens in one part of the world. When you have a respiratory transmittable disease, you can be darned sure it's going to happen in another part of the world. As we move forward, what I would like to see is that uniformity of response. Seeking nationwide enforcement of social distancing and masks, Forshee is in tune with Biden's plan to lock down the country, a plan that made feminist Naomi Wolf regret voting for him. If I'd known Biden was open to lockdowns, as he now states, which is something historically unprecedented in any pandemic, and a terrifying practice, one that won't ever end because elites love it, I would never have voted for him. Forshee rejected President Trump's decision to withdraw funding from the World Health Organization. He looked forward to a vaccine, but warned that it cannot be eradicated, and as immunity is temporary, repeated doses would be required. The most revealing comments by Forshee were on the political divide. He observed polarization in relation to public health and science, but he said, "I do hope we can turn that around, and I think we can." Professor David Heyman of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine remarked that rejection of science seems particularly high in the United States, with mask wearers likely to be Democrat supporters and Republicans refusing to wear them. Forshee enjoyed his reception and urged the British medical establishment, "Please don't give up, the end is in sight." Only the Supreme Court can stop Forshee now. Okay, that's the end. Next time we will be reading this one, Central Banks Start to Move into Digital Currencies. Okay, thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed it. Do all the normal bits, like, share, subscribe and all that jazz. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.